Hey guys, it's DukeOnRed1 and welcome to yet another showcase video for the Articraft server. Absolutely incredible video planned for you guys today. We got some great stuff, great content to show. And again, with us, we have Fornad, who's going to be walking us through and showing us all this amazing stuff. So, hello there, Fornad. How you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you. And yeah, again, welcome back to the server. We're going to be seeing a lot of stuff today, so I'm very excited to show you.
Yeah, we have a lot of ground to cover, so I think we should get started.
Absolutely, let's go.
So as you can see behind us is mithlond. So for point of reference, we're going south from mithlond, correct?
Yeah, kind of southwest from here, yeah.
Okay. So this is like a little village or a farming village outside?
Yeah, correct. So Mython does have, of course, rural communities around it. There is one on the northern side that's still lived in, but this one has been abandoned fairly recently, I would say within the last 100 years or so. And essentially it's been left to rot and decay. So the elves have all gone into the west from here. So these used to be farmers, very simple elves living quite simple lives, and they eventually felt the call to the west and left. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this sense of time here. Really, really, really well done. So I guess now we're starting our journey, but so is this where we're going to be starting, or?
This is where we'll start, yeah.
Okay, so anyways, guys, we're going to be time-lapsing the journeys in between the towns and villages and such, just to give you guys a sense of scale, and I think that a lot of you will really enjoy this. So let's get started.
So now we're in this this land between Mython and Harland, and essentially these are these very rocky, craggy foothills filled with pine and spruce. And this land, interestingly enough, so when I think I talked last video about Beleriand being sunk at the end of the First Age, and when this happened, essentially the mountains, the blue mountains that we're walking through now, the edges of them, they fell apart in the center, and the sea broke in, which formed the Gulf of Lune. So what we're walking through now is essentially the remains of the mountains that were destroyed in this kind of apocalyptic event. And of course, you wouldn't think it now. It's been 6,000 years. It looks quite green and pleasant, but at the time, this would have been an absolutely apocalyptic-looking landscape. And this here is quite cool, a little feature. It's not entirely done, as you can see. A lot of the trees aren't done. But this area here, if you fly up a little bit, Jukon, you can see that this is all cut into steps. And essentially, when Mython was built, this is the area that they sourced a lot of their stone from. So it's an old abandoned quarry.
This is so cool.
For the construction of the city, yeah.
the quarry of Mithlond, because I imagine you would need a lot of stone for that.
Exactly. Well, it's something that someone pointed out. We're like, well, where did all this stone come from? Because the area around Mython doesn't have this kind of stone. So we were like, need to find a place. And so along this road, we decided it would be here.
Fantastic. Shall we resume?
Absolutely. And here we are. So this is the Elven city of Harland. So while we were working on Mython, of course, over the last sort of 14 months, it wasn't the only thing we were working on, and just casually we built another Elven city as well. So this is not entirely done. We hope to get it finished at the end of this month, which is March. But yeah, it's another pretty big city. It's nowhere near as large as Mython, but it's still sizable. Yeah, so we got this bridge here. You might want to just fly off a little bit and have a look at the way this curves up. I think it's one of the nicest features we have currently.
I love this bridge. I can't, my goodness. Like, you know, if it were me, I'd probably just do a straight bridge all the way up. But this, the curves just, it's so organic. So well done. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And you got, so you got these roads on the side, and this is all going to be leading down into farmland eventually, but that's something we haven't quite got onto yet. And you'll see a lot of this city is not done. It's very much a work in progress. So,
the fantastic,
but you should get us.
The fantastic part about this is the scale of the terrain. Like, it just feels like, you know, the city feels like it should be there, you know? Like, you look at the terrain, you look at the city, it matches so well. But anyways, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so I could give a little bit of lore about the city. It's nowhere near as significant in the lore as Mythland is, but it does have some history of its own. So Mythland is mainly a Philathreme city, sort of sea elves, led by Círdan, whereas this city was founded by the Sindar, the Grey Elves. And they're kind of more connected to the woods, I suppose, in Tolkien's mythology, and they were originally ruled, funnily enough, by Galadriel and Celeborn. Galadriel, of course, played by Cate Blanchett in the films.
Yes.
And Celeborn, her husband. And they came to rule later on. They went east, and they came to rule Lorien. But this palace here that we are building currently was originally Galadriel and Celeborn's palace.
Oh, really?
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that is the lore behind it, and that's pretty much all the lore we have. The rest of it is kind of our own imagination. So Harland is even more of a green city than Mythland. You'll see that a lot of it actually has wide tracts of forest within the city itself, and that kind of is due to the fact that, like Mythland, this place has been slowly abandoned over a period of thousands of years. And so what these forests here, so if you fly down into them, they're like fully wild forests, but these places would have originally had houses in them. In fact, there are some ruins scattered throughout.
You know, checking out the gardens and everything, you can definitely tell it's more wild than Mythland. It's not as well kept. And but yeah, it's, again, the elven atmosphere is just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah,
and it's a very different feeling city from Mython, as you said. I mean, it's a lot more, we like to use this kind of warm palette of colors. It feels a lot more kind of homely in a way, and that's kind of us showing off the differences between the different clans of elves. I think in the films you kind of get a sense that all the elves are pretty much the same. They all pretty much operate in the same way. But in Tolkien's mythology, of course, they were an incredibly diverse group, as diverse as men, and so they had their own little quirks and cultures going on.
Yes, exactly. Man, I'm just exploring through some of these woods, and I'm finding just such neat details and things. Oh, look, a Harland ship. Oh, interesting. What is this, a dragon for the bow? Oh, wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
I guess you guys are addicted to the diagonal ships by now.
Yeah, it's one of our trademarks, I guess, at this point. So yeah, you can tell that we actually drained the harbor in order to build this place. Yeah. If you come, actually, I'm not sure where you are now, but there's a few cool features I'd like to show you. I'm
looking at the marshlands right now.
Oh yeah, so the marshlands are cool. Yeah, this is like a saltwater marsh with a big kind of, I guess you'd call it a causeway going across it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. As well, to do with salt, I'll just TP you over here.
Yeah, we learned not from me to TP because it crashes the game. Oh, look, salt. Oh, there. It's escaping my mind. You know what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, salt pans, salt works.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a few names, but yeah, this is an area where they'll make salt. So something we remembered actually not too long ago, maybe like a month ago, that actually we needed somewhere in Middle Earth where they produce salt. So for the Shire, for the dwarves, for the elves, they need a salt area. So this is kind of the salt producing area. It's obviously very work in progress at the moment, but yeah, you can see.
Can you very briefly explain how this was used for collecting salt?
Yep. So essentially, when the tide rises, the water comes in through this channel here, and would fill up all of these little individual kind of areas, and then the tide goes back out again. The sun, so they obviously it would fill up to a very shallow level, not too deep. The sun would then evaporate the water, leaving behind essentially a kind of salty kind of slush almost that wouldn't be entirely salt, and then they would take that salty slush and leave it in draining pans, which I don't think we built yet, but yeah, it's kind of a two-step process essentially.
So cool.
That would turn into sea salt in the end. Yeah. So
that's some inspiration for you guys that are watching. Maybe you want to build a salt works in your build. So, but yeah, absolutely amazing. The forest, the atmosphere, the purpose, the detail, the immersion, just it all works together, all to create one harmonious and very fantastic build. I want to look at these walls really quick. I like this, like, I'm not sure what it's called. It's like the little walkway at the back side of the wall. It goes all the way around the little roofed walkway. That's a really cool feature. And then on the front, you have all these arrow slits. So you basically have 2 levels on this wall. Did Mython have that same kind of deal where it had 2 levels, or is that sort of specific to Harland?
That's specific to Harland, I think. Yeah. Mython's walls are slightly differently designed.
Just one, just thick, yeah. So, fantastic. But yeah, I imagine the next time we make a video here on Articraft, Harland will be finished, and probably much, much more. Because you guys are always asking, Dukan, make more videos on Articraft. Well, we gotta give the Articraft team time in order to produce this content. Otherwise, it'll just be little updates here and there. And I much prefer the big updates, and I'm sure Fornad prefers that as well.
It's a bit easier, yeah. If you just I was going to say teleport to me. Don't do that because you'll crash. I'll teleport you.
Okay.
Yeah. So this here is an example of one of these buildings that has been abandoned over time, and it's just basically foundations at this point.
Oh yeah, I see that. The ruins of. Is this just imagination? Is there any specific lore? Like, is there anything in Harland that really portrays lore-wise, or should we save that for, say, a future video?
Other than the palace, really no. I mean, Tolkien a lot of the time would mention a place, he'd put a dot on the map, he'd maybe say something happened there once or twice. I think the only mention that, like, of Harland specifically that we have in the lore is when. So essentially, when Arnor, which is the sister kingdom of Gondor in the north, when that was being destroyed by the Witch King, some, I would say, 2,000 years before Lord of the Rings. When that happened, Gondor kind of sent a big fleet to come and help them. And obviously, the fleet needed to be docked at Mython, but also it was so big, it was such a huge fleet that it had to fill up the harbors of Harland and also Forlond, which is another elven city in the north. So, and that's pretty much the only time where we have a direct mention of something happening, specifically in Harland. Other than that, it seems like a pretty uneventful place. It's so removed from the troubles and strife of Middle Earth, really.
I'm just exploring through the streets right now. The detail is just phenomenal. I can't stress that enough. So shall we continue? And where are we going next?
Next, we are going to a small harbour town, a small fishing village, I suppose you could call it, on the coast called Barad Eia, and that's just to the west of here. So we'll do another time lapse. Maybe start from here and go across the salt marsh.
Fantastic. So we will see you guys soon.
And here we are. So we've come through the marsh, we've come through the big forest, and now we are here at Barad Eia. So this means, I think the name means tower at the river mouth. And essentially the tower, the big lighthouse that you'll see, probably you might be able to see already, just over there, is a lighthouse on the coast, and it's very near to the entrance, or the exit, sorry, the mouth of a big river that flows out. So yeah, this is an entirely fabricated, I don't want to say fabricated, but this is not in the lore at all. But we knew that Harlindon, as an area, Harlindon being the kind of southern end of Lindon, would have had settlements in it other than Harland, and so we essentially went through and made up our own names based on Tolkien's kind of existing languages. So yeah, it's much more of a rural type town. There are some fishermen. There's a lot of farmland. If we fly up, maybe you might get a good view. It's a really, really beautiful settlement. I think it's one of my favorite places on the server, honestly.
I am absolutely gonna have to go see that windmill over there.
Yes, yeah, the windmill. And if you just fly out over the coast and just take a look at this entire place from the sea, it's I love it. It's unashamedly one of my favorite places. Gotta be.
Yeah, I use this for cinematics that I've done here on Articraft so far for a couple shots, and I love it. The overall cohesion and balance of the build is just so immersive, and it really works together. So really, really nice build here. Buried Ether, right?
Barad Eia, yeah. It works. I think what's great about it in many ways is that the buildings work with the terrain in a really unified way. I think it all kind of comes together, as you say.
Yeah, and the shape of the terrain is just very unique here. Very well done.
Very
yeah, this windmill. Oh, that's beautiful.
Windmill,
obviously very fancy elements to it, but still very realistic. So is there anything up here?
Said, oh well, there might be. I don't know. You said you wanted to see a blacksmith. There is one.
Yeah, for sure.
Blacksmith with the best view of all time. I'll just teleport you here.
Just look at this, guys. Holy cow. Oh, yeah. The blacksmith with the best view, yes. Oh, man, that's nice. Looks like we have a bellows here. We have an anvil. Some oil to dip the weapons in. Where's the smelter? I see the forge.
Well, the smelter, basically they would, I think the steel bars would come to him, so he wouldn't be making
so he would just, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, and maybe when we do the Dwarven videos, we'll see those massive forges in the Blue Mountains where they are actually making the steel, but that would be for a later time.
I remember Guan was showing me screenshots of that earlier.
Yeah.
What he's doing, really fantastic. So, but yeah, Barad Eia, holy cow. Just look at these designs, guys. Just look at the palettes that was used and how well the textures work together. It's just a really unique style that we're seeing here that you don't really see elsewhere. But I guess it's really not that possible using just the normal Conquest Reforged because we don't have the blocks. Like we don't have this, we don't have that block, we don't have this red slate. Like these roof bits, man, I can't wait till we have these new roof tiles. It's gonna be such a great addition. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and find like a nice interior that you can look at here.
yeah, definitely.
2 seconds.
But yeah, as you can see, guys, just like the buildings here. Is there any like specifically like lore-based things that you can say about Barad Eia, other than we
really no. I mean, like I said, it's made up. It's a made up place, but you know, well, I'm not saying that Mython isn't a made up place, but it's more made up than that is. We really just created this from our own minds. And
I gotcha, yeah.
You know, when I made this place in well, not the place, but I made the terrain and world painter. I just thought, like, where would it make sense to have a village, have settlements, and so I marked them all out and just said, you know, let's go and create these and kind of come up with purposes for them and come up with ideas and come up with names, and yeah, and we did it. And Harlindon is now completely done. So
fantastic. So shall we keep moving on? Where shall we go from here?
So we're going to go to kind of a similar place, actually, kind of similar feeling. It's called Tirannui, which means window on the west or looking to the west.
All right, so I'm trying to find the road that we're supposed to be walking down.
Yeah, it's one of these. I'm floating, coming into the windmill, I guess.
Ah, I see, okay.
Oh, there you go. Cool. So let's go.
All right, so we're going down this road right here. Alrighty, so yeah, a lot more walking ahead of us. So we'll see you guys.
Walking.
We'll see you guys soon.
Here we are at Tirannui. So, as I said, quite similar to the last place we were at, Barad Eia, but you know, there's got to be some unity of style, I would say, between the various villages. These are also Sindar elves, just as the ones who live in Harland and Barad Eia, and they live on the west coast of Harlindon, so kind of facing west, looking out towards Valinor, essentially. So, it's kind of I suppose kind of a holy thing almost for elves in terms of looking to the west, and this is about as far west as you can get in Middle-earth.
So one thing we haven't actually really covered in this video is how can people join Articraft and how can they become builders here?
Yeah, so basically, if you want to join the server, if you just want to look around and, you know, well, I don't want to say not help, but if you just want to check out the server, just go to our website, which will be in the description, ardacraft.me. Actually, we just had a new person join the server as I'm speaking, so yeah, that shows off. But yeah, so essentially, you go to our website, you click on the mod pack tab, you download our mod pack. In the future, I suspect maybe by the time people watch this video even, we'll switch to the Conquest Reforged mod pack, which you'll be able to find on PMC. And then you can join the server. We have our own resource pack, and then once you enable that, you can look around and experience the server for yourself. If you want to help build, however, you've got to go to our forums, register there, and make a builder application in the correct section. It's all very obvious and well explained there. Essentially, we'd like people to submit a portfolio with their application in order to show that they can build. And you know, once they've done that, and if we think it's good enough, then we accept you pretty much, and you can start helping.
I don't know what it is, but when we walked down there and we saw the sea for the first time for however long since we've seen the sea, or actually since the last village, but I don't know what that is. There's just something really atmospheric and nostalgic about that. I don't know, it just really brought me in. I don't know, it just, yeah, anyways, really cool transition there.
I do like this place, yeah. We can fly up and have a look around at it as well.
So how do you pronounce it again?
Tirannui.
Tirannui.
Yeah.
Tirannui, something like that. Okay. Anyways, really interesting. It's another Elven village. Also wanted to show this little, these little flicky bits up here if you guys are interested in more or less replicating these roof designs, etc.
Like
really,
flicky bits.
Yeah, flicky bits, as the old Jamsy boy would call them.
Exactly. Yeah. Rest in peace.
But anyways, really cool atmosphere going on here. You got the fields going around, more or less a farming village, more like what is the main resource of this village? Is there any?
Well, it would be a mix of farming, yeah, for food, and also the fishing aspect of it as well would be big. So you have a lot of these small boats drawn up on the shoreline here, in the beaches, and they would kind of go off in those and fish and then come back. So yeah, it's very much a sustenance village, but as a lot of medieval villages would have been, kind of most of the people there would be working just for food, essentially.
Food's very important.
Absolutely, yeah, it's the one thing you need. So there wouldn't be much, yeah, unlike in the big cities where you could have more specialization of professions and stuff, there wouldn't really be much. If they ever wanted to get anything specific, you'd have to make a trip to Harland or even to Mython in order to buy certain things. Also,
something that's very noticeable when we've been walking through this terrain is how unique everything is. How do you achieve that, and what is the the method you guys go along in order to make each region more or less specifically geared towards that region or towards that area?
So we start out really as with everything with the lore, and we try to work out, what, even if Tolkien didn't describe a specific area, and he did very well, he basically didn't describe Harlindon at all. We tried to go with, what his conception of the elves was, for example. So we'll say, well, the elves have, we know that they have a very positive effect upon the landscape. I think there's a bit in the books where Legolas talks about they're walking through an area far away from here, but it used to be an elven kingdom, and Legolas says, the land does not forget the elves, even after a long time. So the elves have a very beneficial effect to the land. They seem to have a connection to it, a strength that they draw from it. And we know that essentially that would create, a land that was very lush, very full of life and flowers and animals and stuff. So when we made Harlindon, we had that in mind. However, when we come to other areas, for example, Arnor, the ruined cities and the ancient kind of destroyed lands of Arnor to the east, they're going to be a lot more bleak, a lot more dark feeling, a lot more like barren in a sense. So kind of our intention with Middle-earth is that when you walk to different areas and you have a look around, even if it's just the terrain and no buildings, you'll be able to think to yourself, oh yeah, this is Lindon, or this is Arnor, or this is Gondor. You'll be able to think and know just by the terrain, not even by the buildings where you are. And that's kind of our goal and our mission.
Yes, exactly. And I really want you guys to really take that in and just understand just how much work goes into the creation of this terrain and the environment here on Articraft, because they really do a lot of research and they really do a lot of in-depth, more or less detailing after even the world painter process, I guess, and they come in and they work on it. But a lot of this, the majority of it, is done in world painter with skills that have been learned from a long period of time. And so basically most of the terrain you've seen has been world painted. It's not hand detailed for the most part, and that's just, it's phenomenal to think just how much of this has been world painted and world machined. Just incredible. Well, world painted.
No world machine as of yet. Might happen in the future, but world painter at the moment.
So shall we continue?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's continue. Going to go into a forest now, so sorry for your FPS.
I think I'm at the right spot. Okay,
you are, yeah.
So we will see you guys in a jiff.